on that note, understand change doesn't take place dramatically. Change takes place in increments. It takes place little by little. So think about yourself. Look at your own body. You changed when you were a little boy or a little girl. You were growing, but you didn't see it. Other people would see it. People, they didn't see you for 6 months. They say, wow, you've really grown in 6 months. But you didn't see the growth because change takes place little by little by little by little. And everything is important. Everything has an effect. There's no one thing that's going to bring about all the changes that are taking place, but everything has an effect and everything is changing. Our brother Deloy Parker always says, we have to recognize that we're not trying to be independent, but we're trying to be interdependent. And as we are interdependent, we see that everything is shifting, everything is changing. From what you see, even on TV, where 10 years ago you couldn't find a black person on a commercial, now you can't find a black person not on the commercial. That's a significant change. Now you may say, what kind of, for the people who are doing the commercial, the money they're making in the commercial is not money they were making before. So it's a significant change for them. Change takes place in small increments. And the key thing is we have to look at ourselves and see what kind of changes are we putting ourselves through and how are we changing from being toxic to being holistic. There's a quote that Ralph Smart and a bunch of other people always say, comparison and competition is the thief of joy. When you're comparing or competing with others to see who's doing this, who's not doing this, you're losing the whole joy of the journey. Start with taking care and looking at yourself first, looking at how you have to be about this holistic change, what you can do, and then you will be contributing. And the good news is, and this is inside information, so you can tell all your friends this, but keep it in the mystery, don't shout it, whisper it in the ear. When you do right, good things happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, you're talking about change and what can you do? You know, when I went through 2020, and I think many people had that period of time when they sat down and they were still for a little bit. And I was listening to YouTube because I listen to a lot of audiobooks. So sometimes when I'm telling you stuff and I say I'm listening to YouTube, I'm listening to an audiobook, but I cannot remember the name of it at the moment. But I was listening to an audiobook and this man said, we, meaning human beings, are like photographs, like the old time photographs. He said, we get these ideas and that image is impressed upon a film. And then sometimes we have to go into the dark. We have to go into sleep. We have to go into meditation. We have to go into stillness for that image to come out properly. He said, when you get inspiration sometimes and you immediately want to act on it or blab it off, if it's not time, what you're doing is exposing the film before it's developed.
Come on.
And the image is not clear to you, and it's not clear to anybody looking at you, because they're like, what is she doing? She just going off, and she going off half-cocked. That's what people say. Yeah. She going off half-cocked. And he says, sometimes you need to learn how to be in a dark room, and you need to be still, and you need to let the awakening happen. And then when you actually are awake and you can see clearly, then you move forward.
There you go.
But we all have seen those movies, and I don't know if anybody still has dark rooms, where the person's in the dark room and they got there's no windows, everything is completely dark. Right? And they're doing they're moving that picture around and then they're hanging it so it can dry. And if you open the door, they're like, ah! You know, they're freaking out because all of that painstaking work could be destroyed in just that careless exposure. Yeah. And also he was saying when you are in the process of, in a sense, going through your awakening, sometimes you need to be in the dark room, meaning you need to get away from people who are not going to help you develop. You could have somebody in that developing room with you. They could be in the dark with you, talking to you about it, helping you, maneuver those photographs, whatever. They could be in there with you. But what they can't be doing is going in and out that door, while you're trying to develop these images that you're trying to understand. And I thought that was a very powerful metaphor because, when I went through 2020, there was about a month where I just sat and wrote and meditated, and I just tried to process what was going on in the world. And I didn't do a whole lot of talking to people. I didn't do a whole lot of being interactive because at the time I realized that as an artist, as a business person, as a teacher, my whole life in those three areas was going to change drastically. And I needed to figure out how I was going to deal with it. And so I had to literally sit down, be still, get some ideas, and let my subconscious talk to me, let my intuition talk to me, let my wisdom talk to me. I had to just be still. And then, when I came out of that period of time, the thing that I had was this workbook package, which you can get this. I just knocked them. I'm selling these for $15, but he was talking about investing in yourself. How are you developing? This is mine. There are 16 pages in here. Each page is dedicated to a different topic. Like this is abundance. And it does focus on, putting a song, a movie, a book, a goal, an affirmation, putting a picture of an ancestor that inspires you. What can you learn from that person? Answering journal prompts,